Hi there, I'm Director of Photography, Alec Watson, and welcome back to our last installment on processing long-side lit images. And this comes from when we did the live shoot in studio and daylight studio and outside finding light for front light, backlight, short side lighting, Rembrandt lighting, and long side lighting. Now I've kept processing long side lighting till last because, and I'm going to get myself in trouble here, I am going to suggest to you that, I'm going to suggest to you with kindness that there is no such thing as long side lighting. What? Okay, short side lighting, front lighting, back lighting are all different types of lighting that give you a different image. I'm going to suggest to you that long side lighting is not really a type of lighting. Let me explain. I'm going to get all sorts of comments, and you feel free to comment and we'll turn this into a debate. But here is my version of why long side lighting is not a type of lighting. Okay, between the two images here, these were shot in the studio. Short side lighting, so again, short side, long side of the face, and we end up with this nice shadow region where we get this little Rembrandt triangle, and we've got contour and shape. Now, this would be long side lighting where we've lit the long side of Sophia's face, and here's the short side. But what I'm going to suggest to you is that really long side lighting is just front lighting and your model is turned off axis. And there we go. That would be me with long side lighting right now, and I am just turned off axis with the light to the side. For me, I turned this way and now I'm short side lighting. This would be like a type of lighting. This is me just turned off axis. And so that's my argument, is this is front, long side lighting tends to be front lighting with the person turned off axis to the camera. And of course, it could come from the side as well, but generally it's front lighting with the person not completely facing the camera. Those two look dramatically different. I would say that the shot on the left, the short side lighting, is a much stronger shot, whereas this is a well exposed shot, but not a lot of shape to it. I do want to process one of these, and I want to show you something that I find interesting about long side lighting, because I do come across ads all the time where somebody has lit something long side like this, and I go, hey, wow, long side lighting really does look great. So let's go ahead and go with long side lighting's strengths. So I'm going to take this image into the Develop Suite. I suggested that long side lighting is really front lighting off axis. And one of the things that I suggested when we processed the front lighting is our most contrasty lighting. Same with this. This means that we can make a more dramatic shot by bumping up contrast. As we bump up contrast, what happens? Well, it becomes oversaturated. So we're going to pull our saturation back a little bit. There we go. And our darks get a little dense, so we're going to fill light that. And I'm going to pull our highlights back just a hint. And so we can get these shots that really pop contrast-wise and will still look natural. There's our front lit shot without contrast. If you've got an iPhone, most people have iPhones. I can't say for Androids because I don't have one, but I can say that when I look at this version of this shot, when I compare the two, this looks like it was shot on my expensive DSLR. This looks like it was shot on the iPhone. And I suggested to you when we were talking about front lighting that we can bump up the contrast on our phones when things are smaller. And I believe that that's what iPhone is doing. Like the Apple guys go or say, you know, well, this is natural, but it doesn't look great. We want people to really love our camera. So we're going to bump up the contrast. This version is going to be stronger on Instagram than this version. That version would get more likes. How might I process this one to optimize it? Well, Sophia's face is a little unevenly lit by the long side. The long side lighting is her hair is blocking this in shadow, and her nose has ended up a little bit hot, and she's got a bit of a hot spot over here. as usual, I would just go in, and I'm not going to use any kind of AI mask. So you could use a different program. My go-to is ACDSee. There is not a better digital asset manager, and the processing in ACDSee is great. I would take a mask. I'm making this brush smaller with nib width, and this is also happens to be attached to my mouse. So I'm taking a small brush, and you're going to see me paint red where I want to lower the exposure. It hasn't done anything. It's just showing me an area where I'm going to do something. And now I go up to exposure, and I'm going to pull that back, and you're going to see that red disappear. That's me taking a third of a stop off. So there's brighter, there's darker. I would say that's working pretty well. I'd like to pop some more light into her eyes. So I would take another brush. And this time I'm going to brush around her eyes thusly. And I'm going to add a hint of light into her eyes. We'll add a third of a stop. In fact, I will add a little more than a third of a stop. There we go, starting to pop. Now I can take these, this is my lightning one. I can open this up, and I could just do a really soft brush. Just on that side of her face. There we go. Anything I want to lighten up a little bit. And I could do the same with some of her strands of hair. I can go through and I can turn up the highlights in her hair. And suddenly, we've got a much stronger shot. Have a look at that. They seem like they could go down a hint more still. There we go. Excellent. And I'm going to feather those ones so they're a little softer. That area on her shoulder was noticeable. If I feather that mask, boom, just like that. When I compare this to the original, one of the last things that I had mentioned was that in general, you can add a post-crop vignette to front-lit shots, and a long side lighting, I've said, is basically a front-lit shot with the person looking off axis from the camera. We can take our shot and darken in the edges, and it'll always look quite natural, and put a little hot spot behind your subject and darkening around the edges. The last thing that I always do when I look at a photo is ask myself, can I crop anything to make the image a little bit simpler? And about my subject. What's my subject? Well, my subject is our model Sophia in this. The only thing that's grabbing my eye that's a little odd, and I always look at the corners, is that square in the corner. I'm not sure that's adding to my shot. I look everywhere else, nothing else is bothering me, but I've got kind of like a dark line. And anything that ends up in a corner that grabs your attention is an attention getter that pulls your eye away from the subject. So I'd go into geometry in ACDSee, and we're just going to recrop a little bit tighter. I'm going to crop that out of there. I want all of Sophia's leg in, and done. I click save on this. I've mentioned before, ACDSee is completely non-destructive. So even though I have saved that and created that look, the raw file still exists completely untouched. It's just got a bunch of instructions of what I did there that it can repeat. I could go back in, I could make changes. I love that about ACDSee. My name's Alec Watson, and as a commercial photographer, I'm really grateful to ACDSee for hiring me to be able to do these lessons. One of the things that I don't get to do in advertising is, really make the world a better and more beautiful place with art. And so this is my opportunity to do that on a much bigger scale by sending lessons to you. So if you guys are getting something out of this, please click like, please subscribe, and feel free to reach out to ACDSee. Let us know your comments. The guys at ACDSee really care, and we're always looking for ways to make your life better and make the world a better and more beautiful place.